all people had it hard back then.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody considered it being hard because that's what you was born into and you grew up like that.
It's just the way it was, yeah.
And like I told him, I didn't know we was poor till I was grown, but we was no poorer than nobody else. And we always had shelter. We had plenty to eat, a place to sleep, and that's all we needed.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I didn't know we wasn't rich.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes we worry about a bunch of stuff that doesn't really even matter,
It don't.
Yeah. What matters is, do you have something to eat and a place to sleep?
I never remembered ever being hungry more than maybe just before a mealtime. When you was working in the field, you'd get hungry.
Mm-hmm.
But we had 3 meals a day. It wasn't nothing to get upset about.
I think a lot of people get worked up and been out of shape when we talk about emergency preparedness and disasters and things like that. They think they got to rush out and get all these supplies because they might be like slightly moderately uncomfortable for a short period of time.
Back then, we didn't know when bad weather was coming. Or
it just was here or what? Yeah.
We just met it head on.
Yeah.
That was it. But
probably paid a little bit more attention to the weather, right?
Well, yeah, and back then our weather was a lot rougher than it has been in this area.
You think so?
Oh, yes, and colder.
Interesting.
And sometimes I had to go up on the hill and dig coal out of, there was a seam of coal above where we lived. And if Daddy wasn't home, the boys would go up there and dig out a sack of coal. Well, we didn't dig coal that hard.
You were coal miners.
I wouldn't go in.
Yeah.
I went till it got dark and I wouldn't go back in there, but now they did.
Yeah.
But Daddy worked in the mines, but not there.
Right.
But,
that was just behind the house.
Yeah. And that way you had to have something to keep the house warm.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Mommy was our mastermind because everything we learned, that's the way we learned it. His Daddy'd say if it hadn't been for her, he couldn't have made it.
Yeah.
He couldn't have supported us. Well, he couldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
She never worked a public job in her life, but she worked.
Every day, all day.
Every day, because she raised a big family.
Mm-hmm.
And then she, we would carry the water, to can or anything like that and help wash cans, but now she did the canning most of herself.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember one year, most of them was like half a gallon cans, except their jellies and preserves like that, and some of the berries. She filled 700 cans. Don't know how she did it.
700's a lot.
That was including some of the jelly too, preserves.
And that would be just about used up by that time next year?
You use that through the winter and then start over next spring.
700 cans.
Only the one time she ever reached that.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of berries that year and, different things that she canned everything. It didn't matter what. She raised chickens to kill and can. And we raised rabbits to cook and can. And then we had our hogs. Sometimes we'd kill like 3 in a year. 2 had to be young, he'd call shows. And, the neighbors would come in, help kill hogs and help. They got a mess of fresh meat for doing that. Everybody done that, even when the others killed one. When Daddy and the boys usually helped. Mommy usually helped and all of that. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd carry water to boil, but back then it wasn't so simple to even prepare the meat or anything like that because you had to have boiling water to scrape the hogs. They don't do that now like that,
Mm-hmm.
But that was a day's work. You had to fix that to cure. Some you had to hang up in sacks to keep anything off of it, it had to be cured. You had to put it in sacks and hang it up. And I wouldn't even know how to start to do that now.
Really?
Because
they salt it and they put it in sacks and hang it up in the smokehouse?
And they put some other, borax or something, some kind of borax. to keep bugs or anything off of it,
Yeah.
you know. And that's why it had to go in sacks.
Did it get hung up in the smokehouse?
Yeah, you only smoked in there like if it was a warm day. Lots of times when you killed one in the early spring, it might be a warm day. That's the only time that somebody could come in to help you. And then you let what we used to call, like for gnats or anything, you built this smoke. You used something like denim cloth and make all this smoke, old ragged, they'd outgrown or wore out.
But you burned that?
You saved that and burned it, kept it kind of smothered so it would smoke.
Ah.
You didn't get flies and gnats in there.
Mm.
Until you got your meat cured and everything. It had to go in sacks till nothing got on it.
Yeah.
Until you got it canned.
Mm. Did it need to be canned if it was preserved like that?
Well, I don't know if it all would have needed to or not, but that was to preserve it in case something else happened. That was what you was told, in case you needed. Then you ground sausage, most of it like what they called, then they called it Midland meat. They didn't call it fatback or side meat. You put that in, ground that in your sausage. Of course, you ground lean meat in it too, you know. And if we short on cans, we fried the sausage before you put it in cans because it would hold more.
Mm-hmm.
And you would make them out in little balls and set them in the oven in a pan and to render the grease out of them.
Right.
And can them like that. And that was so good in the summer when you was hoeing corn. You'd come out and, you know, the weather was warm enough that the grease was almost melted in your can. And you eat that with cornbread that you'd make of the morning before we went to the field. And you had a meal with buttermilk.
Mm.
And we took to we called it the milk spring. And it kept it cold because we had it in milk cans like this. Took two to carry it around there and put it in there. It was better there than it was in the dairy. We had a dairy underground, but that was better in that spring. And it was ice cold when you get it out. And that way that would be what we'd come out and have dinner. We had soup beans cooked or a pot of soup or something like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes she went to the field with us, take a blanket and put the baby on it, and the next one above took care of the baby, didn't let it crawl off there while she helped us in something that, especially like beans or vines, she would help us in that. But just like corn or we did it. But one had to stay and take care of the baby and make sure it didn't crawl off.
The next oldest one.
His race said, I thought I was the only one done that. I said, no. He said, come down. The older one took care of the other one, you know. We did that right up until the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And for those people that don't know, how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 8 brothers, 3 sisters.
8 brothers and 3 sisters.
So it was a good-sized family.
Yeah.
And until Dennis went in service, we was all home.
All right.
So,
Everybody worked pretty hard.
Yeah,
there wasn't. Nobody was overweight or out of shape.
actually, no.
Yeah. Yeah. There was no time for that.
I mean, I never even thought of that before, but no.
Yeah.
Nobody was overweight.
Yeah.
You didn't have time.
Yeah. Everybody was busy all day, every day. I've come to the conclusion that what makes people live longer, like yourself, and stay sharp. I mean, you were rattling off all of the first, middle, and last names of all of your nieces and nephews, which are there's a lot.
I got one of them wrong. I thought about later.
Oh, one wrong.
That I said I thought it was Morale, no, it was Eugene.
Oh, okay. So
Eugene.
you know all of the first, middle, and last names of all of your nieces and nephews, grandchildren.
I think so.
And there's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Mommy passed away. They were 30-some.
30-something.
And I don't know how many more
Cousins and
come along after that.
I sometimes forget my own middle name. That's good.
Grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Yeah, I think what makes people like you different than other people, that your mind is still really sharp. most people don't even live to 92, but if they do make it to 92, they can't. Their mind is fading. They don't have the memories they used to have.
Mommy was 92, but her memory was gone.
Right, but up until a point, she was pretty good, right?
Yeah, but it was mostly just her short-term memory that was gone.
Yeah.
And anything else, she could tell you most things.
But did that coincide with her having to be less active because her body just wasn't able to do it anymore?
I'm sure that was part of it, yeah.
But you are still up and doing all the things all the time, as much as you can, right?
Until midnight and 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Nobody can keep up with you. Hi, Granny's. And that's her way down there. We're trying to keep up.
She was 92 when she passed away. Daddy was 65.
But would you say that's one of the secrets that you can think of, that it's just staying active all the time, just always doing something?
I think that helps a lot. Mm-hmm. They all laugh. I do word puzzle. Mm-hmm. I said, well, they tell me that's good for your mind, mm-hmm. good for your brain, because you have to concentrate.
Yeah.
And I do that.
Yeah.
Because I love them word puzzles.
Yeah.
But,
well, I think it's just good in general just to be active and always learning something new and solving problems still, right? And as opposed to just being idle and letting life pass you by.
I'm hardly ever idle.
Yeah.
I should be sometimes, but...
yeah, but you're still really active.
No, I think the more you move, the more you do, the more you remember, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not for everybody, maybe, but... You use it, you lose it. I find that being good medicine.
Yeah. But, do you have any other words of wisdom besides that? I think that's a big one. But words of wisdom for people that want to live long, healthy lives and be active and still useful into their late years. Because you're not only just active, like you take care of everybody else, which is which most people at 92 wouldn't even think it's possible. You are taking care of everyone.
You know, there at one time, said Christy had surgery on her foot, and Iggy had surgery on his elbow and then his knee. Well, now he was only down here a day or two, but Christy had to stay a while because she couldn't put no weight, you know. And then Rhonda was sick, and then Haley had surgery, and everybody was sick at one time. And I told them it looked like a nursing home here.
You were the nurse.
And this was the stopping point because Rhonda said, well, actually, you're the only one equipped to take care of it. Because I had the wheelchair and the hospital bed and things like that.
You're the fittest one of the bunch.
Well, you know, I would rather be doing something, and I'd rather be waiting on one of them as for them to wait on me.
Right.
Because not that I know how more, I just like doing it. Mm-hmm. So it never bothered me. I never got tired. Mm. I mean, I really didn't get tired. They all fussed because I wouldn't go to bed or sit down. And I told them, I said, sure, I'm old enough to know when I'm tired
you gotta lay.
and when I need to sit down.
Yeah.
Other than that, I need to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then when Rhonda got until she could walk, I was either in the garden or I was in the garage or I was down back pulling weeds or what have you, know. And she said, you know, if you fell or anything, I wouldn't even know it because I have to come out to hunt you every time. Yeah. So I got her a bell that she could ring when she needed.
Well, what would she do if you did fall? So she can come save you.
I told her, she said, no, but I could get help.
Call somebody, I guess, yeah. Yeah.
So I had...
Yeah, but you're taking care of everybody. You're taking care of your kids and...
Grandkids
sometimes.
Emergency medical. We was just paying for nothing.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, just disconnect it. I'm not here by myself now. And
don't need any of that.
And Iggy said, but it would keep you from falling. I said, wouldn't if I had that emergency button. Yeah. The thing of it is, there's somebody could call for help.
Sure.
I mean, it's not that I couldn't fall, but I've been fortunate. Mm-hmm. I haven't.
Nope.
I mean, I fell a time or two, but not.
You're quick on your feet, Granny.
Not critical.
Quick.
Not really.
Speedy.
But I get on them.
Hard to keep up sometimes.
It's better to stay on them.
Take my eye off you and you're gone.
But actually, all in all, I've not just been lucky, I've been blessed. There are a few people, you know, as well off as I am, but
Not many.
As I tell them, I don't get mad easy. I don't know that I get mad at all, but I never did get mad easy.
I think that's part of the secret, though, to long life.
I never did see nobody that I say I really didn't like. I've seen them do things I didn't like, but nobody that I didn't like. And as far as, well, we was talking the other night, and I said, I must love everybody. I just don't get mad at them, and I don't hate nobody. And yet I'm not a very good host. I'm not a host at all. Or to visit people unless they need me. If they call, I can go. But other than that, I just stay home, tend to my business, and everybody else that'll let me, I tend to theirs. But other than that,
what would you say? What's your favorite thing to do, Granny? So, like, if I said, "Hey, you can do whatever you want today," you know, sky's the limit. Like, your favorite thing to do, what would it be?
We'll probably go out and piddle in flowers or in the garden or mow. I love to mow. I know.
Go push mow the yard?
They pretended that they forgot to get the gas, but I know they didn't get it. And so, I told Debbie the other day, I said, I'm going to get Bobby to check my mower. There's nothing wrong with that mower. I know they're not. And then I'm going to push mow this front yard.
You should.
I won't down where
just the front yard.
I used to mow that down there.
Yeah.
But now I would mow all of the front because on kind of my ankle I can't run that bank now. But I can mow the front yard, and I will.
I think you should, Granny. Stay off the hill. But the front yard, go for it.
I'm not going to go down there because I don't want to break that ankle again.
No.
But up here, that is actually therapy. It's exercise because it's self-propelled. And actually, you just about have to hurry to keep up with it. It's not hurting you. And everybody around here thought that was awful. Little old woman down there mowing the yard. They thought I couldn't afford to have it mowed, I guess. But
I say go for it. Don't listen to them, Granny. They don't know what they're talking about. You're the healthiest one of the bunch. You can't listen to them.
Even one, as Shane told him where his grandmother lived, and this lady up here, she said, down there where that little old woman mows the yard.
Yep.
And actually, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I do. I can mow all day and just mow. Now, I can mow all the way around the house. Mm-hmm. I can mow down to where I burn paper. Mm-hmm. But now I won't try that one out there anymore. Yeah. I used to, I did. When it wasn't self-propelled, I used the push mower mowed that.
Yeah.
But now self-propelled, it won't hurt nobody. I don't care who it is. So, and I let the children walk in front and help when they was little, they could hold it and they need to learn to mow too. So,
what about you got aches and pains and stuff. You broke your ankle pretty bad. You got a pin in your ankle, but what about that stuff? Is that frustrating, or is it just you just accept it and pace yourself?
You have to accept it. It slows you up to some things like mowing around the hill. I can't do that. Yeah. Well, I could. But if I was to break that ankle again, I'd be in a world of trouble.
Yeah.
Or break my leg. Say I broke my leg, got an ankle too. I've got a pin down there. But other than that, I don't see no reason I can't go out and do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I don't see nothing wrong with it. So, yeah. And I do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to this year too.
Don't let them stop you.
It's not like they can.
No. Yeah, they couldn't even catch you.
Well, Rhonda would get so upset at me. She would come out and holler for me, and sometimes she would miss me. I might have been down there, and she went and looked that way and come back. I might be in the garage, and she'd come back this way, and I might be coming back out here. And she'd say, I want you to quit that. I can't keep up with you. And I told her, I said, you don't have to. So I got her a bill, and I said, if you need help or you need me, All you have to do is ring that bell.
Yeah.
Well, then I got busy one day. I forgot what that bell was. I was just busy and I thought, I don't know what I'm hearing. It sounded like a bell I didn't know what I was hearing. And she come out and hollered at me. She said, "You're not hearing the bell." And I said, "I heard it. I forgot it."
Forgot what it meant. Yeah.
I thought it was someone over there at that shop. And she was ringing that bell. But, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Rhonda don't get around good, and she has a lot of problems, and she can't do what I do, you know. And I don't mind doing it, actually. I invent some of it. I don't care. But I have to do it when nobody's here. They don't let me do it. And I do when they're down.
When they're not looking.
As I tell
You're
them,
about the busiest person I know.
I tell them I can do it. I just have to have the chance, you know. And I can.
Yeah.
She come out and I was scrubbing that pad out there, you know. And it needed scrubbing. It needed not just washing off, it needed scrubbing. And she got all up in the air. And she said, "Why do you do that?" And I said, "It needed cleaning." She said, "You know, one of these boys can do that." I said, "I don't want them boys to do that. I want to do it myself."
You want to do it.
So I did.
Yeah.
And I moved that round table from down the back, and I got chewed out for that. I'd do it.
You'd do it again.
I would.
Yeah.
Because I could roll that. That was no problem.
Yeah.
Well, Ethan come when I was moving the chairs, though. You know, he said, "I'll do that." "Why would you do it?" And I said, "They're mine. I move them where I want them."
So Granny was helping load a lawnmower up onto a trailer. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Been 3 or 4.
Maybe, yeah, three-ish years ago. She thought she needed to help load this lawnmower up onto a trailer, and it was like a dump trailer, and it would tip. It like kind of turned into its own ramp sort of deal. And anyway, the lawnmower was getting pushed up on it, and as it got up on the trailer, it tipped, and it raked her shin.
When it come back down, that's when it did that.
Oh gosh, it raked the skin off of your shin.
It dipped a hole.
Oh, yeah, it was not pretty. Yeah, show them that one. Yowza. Yeah, but she thought she needed to get involved in that one too.
There's a big chunk of skin. Like it was.
I went to the ER, and that man moved out of my way. You know, he thought I had a broke leg, got some crutches, and he was trying to get out of the way. And I told him, I said, "There's nothing broke. It's just badly bent." You know?
Bent.
And but he got out of the way anyway. And then he was one of the nurses, and he come in there, and he asked my age and everything. And he said, "Can I ask you something?" I said, "Well," he said, "What's an 89-year-old woman doing loading a lawnmower?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, my grandson was trying to load it, and I was afraid he'd get hurt, so I took it."
So she helped.
He said, "Well, I'm not making fun of you. I admire you." And I told him, I said, "It was just a freak accident, because when it come back down, it jolted. But, because I was out of its way, but it jerked me.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't have got hurt.
Nope. It was,
that never really hurt. It was never, of course, I went to the doctor so it wouldn't get infected.
Right.
And they put, patches on it. But I was only allowed to use Vaseline, nothing else on it, because it had to heal from the inside out, because it had a hole out in it.
Yeah. Oh.
But it never...
It was ugly.
It just never hurt.
Yeah.
Of course.
But you're tough.
And Debbie come every day and dressed it for me. I had no problem with that. And now it's almost healed over. The scar's almost healed over now. See?
Yeah.
That other's where I've got eczema. But that is just about healed over.
You're good to go.
Because it was long.
You want to go load a lawnmower?
I was going to push a lawnmower. But no, I need to be outside. I think being outside, well, one day Rhonda hollered at me and asked me what I was doing. And I said, I'm getting my vitamin D. She said, Mother, are you sick? And I said, no, I'm sitting in the sun. But I was getting my vitamin
Getting your vitamins. Taking your vitamins. I think it's good for you.
But she come hurried in. She thought I was sick because I said I'm getting my vitamin D.
Yeah. I think the people that stay inside all day and are scared about going outside and get because they're going to get sick are the sickest ones out of all of them.
Well, it's just like I tell them, if you're going to get a cold or you're going to get a flu,
you're going to
get anything, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Dodging it never
works. Yeah.
And if I want to, now I wouldn't go to the hospital like that on kind of running, but other than that, I wouldn't care to win. I'd have just muffled the cough and went on, but I didn't go on kind of him. But other than that,
world's full of scaredy cats, Granny.
Well, they'll ever one say, well, everybody there's got the flu, or I would have come out, but everybody's got the flu. And I said, if you're going to get it, you will, and if you're not, you won't.
Mm-hmm.
That when I went for my eye, that doctor asked me how, at my age, I didn't take no prescription medication, and I said, I stay away from the doctors.
Yeah.
You only go when you need one. You don't go
just because
they give you an appointment.
Right.
You go when you need to go. So if I need to go, I would, but if I don't, I don't.
And that's why you're not on all kinds of medications.
Right, because they just keep giving you medication. I don't need all that. Never know when I will need it, but I don't think I'm going to.
Not today.
Not today. I wouldn't take it if I had it.
Me either. I don't take anything ever. Even when I probably should, I don't take anything.
Now, I will take anything, keep, from getting congested and all of that, but I go in and lie. See, the children's are half a dozen. They all laugh about that. If it says take 2, I take 1. If it says take 1, I take a half. And then I take children's Mucinex, things like that, and it helps me. That's all I need because I don't take nothing else. And they try to slip stuff on me. It's like I know Haley fixed me a liquid IV. I know she did. I didn't see it. But she told me she was fixing me a cup of tea to soothe my throat. And I said, my throat's not sore. I don't need that. Well, let me fix you a cup of tea. That's what me and Amber fixed. And it really helps your throat. And I thought, now you're up to something.
Yeah, sneaky.
But I took it. And then she said, did that tea help you? And I said, I couldn't tell the difference, Haley. I said, I fixed my own cup of tea my way. And Ricky would be so proud of me. I did. I fixed my own. And drank it, and it did help me. But I know I got a liquid IV. I told her, I said, I'm not dehydrated. Don't need it.
You weren't born yesterday.
That's what I try to tell them. And so I don't need all that extra stuff. But that man over at the hospital, he was just amazed. He come back 2 or 3 times and talked to him. And I didn't see nothing unusual about that. I mean, accidents happen, and people load lawnmowers every day. So I didn't see nothing unusual.
You're a tough cookie, Granny.
It never did hurt. It really didn't.
It looked painful.
It wasn't. I mean, I did more blood on everything.
You had a silver dollar missing off of your shin.
It looked like it, yes.
Yeah.
But I guess because, Debbie took care of it.
Yeah.
But she dressed it every day. I had no problem, and she put the Vaseline back on it. And Vaseline was all I used, and it healed from the inside out. And that's what's they didn't graft no skin. That's what's taking care of the scar now.
Yeah.
Really.
You're pretty fast healer.
No, I'm not.
No?
No, I'm slow healing. Now Dorothy would have healed in no time. Haley will, but now I didn't. No, I don't heal fast. But I just need to be more careful, not have to heal it all.
There you go.
But it was a freak accident. So.
What other words of wisdom could you offer us, Granny? Anything? Top of your mind?
Well,
what about being resourceful and things like that? And like what I said earlier, people oftentimes get bent out of shape and worried about things that they can't control and little inconveniences and stuff. What do you?
Some of them tell me they won't watch the news and nothing because nothing to do about it. It's nerve-wracking. I said, I want to know what's going on and nothing I can do about it. And I don't even try because I can't. But I want to know what's going on. But I think, as I tell Haley all the time, tending to your own business and taking care of your own business and live and let live is a healthy life to live. And not junk food.
Yeah.
Because she's bad for junk food. Well, just chips and dip.
Everybody seems like they're bad for junk food.
Well,
me too sometimes, I guess.
Once in a while, that's okay, but you don't want to live like that. If you do, you're going to have medical problems.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to tell them. And other than that, I'm just happy to be alive.
Yeah.
And actually, I intend to stay alive for a while.
At least 20 more years.
I hope so. You promised me 20 more years. I don't know if you were fooling or not.
Debbie promised me that I told her I was inviting her for my 100th birthday, and she said, we're going to turn that around and invite you for my 100th birthday. And I said, I'll be somewhere.
I'll be somewhere.
I won't be complaining. I'll be somewhere. Because she'll be 68 the 13th of this month.
Life is weird, just in general. It's baffling to me. Like how you're born, you get old, your body starts to get tired and looks different, and your hair turns gray and all that kind of stuff. And then one day you're kaput. I think it's just a strange process. It's when you think about it.
But when you read the Bible, that's the way it's supposed to be. You can't live forever on earth.
Yeah.
You live forever after you are decayed.
Yeah.
You live forever somewhere,
right.
Either good or bad, and good is better. But
what do you think that is? Like, so I'm looking forward to it. In one way, I'm looking forward to not being here anymore and being in heaven. But what do you think it is that makes us want to hold on to this?
Because it's nature. And the Bible says so. And Paul says to be absent from the body, you're present with the Lord. But to benefit people, he stayed on earth.
You got to be here to help other people.
He would have rather went on, but he needed to help other people.
So what do you think our purpose is then? Why are we here?
I don't really know the purpose, except God planned it that way, and he created it that way. And he created all nationalities with the same blood. And that's why people should respect other nationalities instead of being hectic about everything. Everything shouldn't offend nobody, but anymore it does. It don't me. I hear things all the time, and it offends somebody, but it don't me.
Yeah. I don't know why people are so offended about stuff.
Childish, I think.
Yeah.
Or just to have something. They don't have anything else to take up their time. If they would get busy and even create things, if they worked, they wouldn't be that easy.
If you had something productive to do, you would just go do that and not be so offended.
And you wouldn't know what everybody else is doing. Staying out of other people's business is a good thing.
Yeah.
Helping them is a good thing. But don't try to run their life. That don't work. It don't work if they run yours because they run it into the ground. But I just don't get offended. If anybody wants to say something, that's their business. Say it. I don't care if it's about me. And if it was about me and I heard it, I'd just go on about my business and not listen to it. That way you're not going to get offended if you don't hear it. So, no, I don't know the word. Well, it's fulfilled in the Bible. Because he said you would be wiser but weaker. And then people will turn against each other, even family. And like mothers against daughters against daughter-in-laws, and daughter-in-laws, daughters against mothers. Sons the same way. Well, don't you see it happening? if you watch what's going on, you know the end of the time is nigh. It's not here yet, and it's not going to be here just yet. Because Jesus said these things had to come to pass first, so it'll get worse before it gets better. Because he said, come a time you come worse nowhere. Well, you see it coming, they're fighting.
They're trying, yeah, in a lot of places.
And they've done that all the time, but they did it back then too. And so that's why they was martyrs that was killed for preaching the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And
Some of your brothers were in the war, right? Did any of your brothers fight in the war?
Dennis.
The oldest brother in World War II.
Yeah, he was the only one. Daddy had two brothers, one in World War I and one in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about any of the stories?
They don't talk about things
Yeah.
like that. They didn't and still didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, they're all gone now, but no, they never told you nothing what happened. And that's, if you notice, most anybody's like that. So.
Yeah.
But, And I think it'd be so stressful if you knew what they went through or knew what they were doing. Now, Amon was wounded, but other than that, the others wasn't. But
Was Amon your uncle? Yeah.
he was the youngest brother, and he was in World War II. The oldest brother was in World War One.
Mm.
Well, Debbie D's oldest brother was in World War. No, he was in Korea. He got killed in Korea. The oldest one did. But all three, the boys, three of them went. There was four of them, but three was in service. But the oldest one got killed, but that was his second term. He was discharged, and then he re-enlisted, and 10 days after he got to Korea, he got killed. So But, I mean, that these war times is like that, and you can expect it. Don't mean you like it, and don't mean it don't hurt, but it's going to happen. They've been wars ever since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
They're going to always be.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been trouble between countries and families since the beginning of time. It's going to always be. Because the Bible says what is now has already been, and what's already been, we will face it now.
Be again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just pays to take care of yourself and take care of what's around you. Let everybody else tend to their business, because you can't butt in. It don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see people being so against each nationality. That is not right. But it's not right that you're getting your own family, but many is. But but not me.
Not great.
And I told Haley, she said something about it. I said, I had 8 brothers. And I couldn't tell you. I said, there's everyone different, but I couldn't make a difference in one of them. They was all brothers. That's just the way you felt. It was your brother. That's the way you was raised. Too.
Right.
But there was nothing to ever, I guess when we was little, we probably, heckled each other. But after we got grown, we didn't until we got old. And I still didn't.
Yeah.
Some of the rest did, but I didn't.
Interesting.
And I'm not going to.
Reverting back to childhood, fighting amongst one another.
Well, it's just repeating is what it is.
Yeah.
But no, I can't see it like that. So. And I've always been that way. If something was going on I didn't like, I just got out of hearing. That was the end of it. I didn't know what else happened, and I still do that.
You're a special lady.
I just do that because I don't need to be in nobody's
a lot of
dispute.
A lot of people, a lot of women specifically, a lot of men too, but like to get caught up in all the gossip
Bible
and the.
says these. I would call them highfalutin women, but anyway, it was women like in power, women, older women, would stir up trouble in Israel, and cause all of these, just like they're doing today.
Right.
They did it then too. And Well, that's fulfilling the Bible. People was born for that, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
But not you.
Well, that wasn't what I was born for.
No.
I would have done it. But no, I just can't see that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I hate arguments worse than anything else.
Yeah.
Or somebody butting in the other's affairs. That don't work.
Yeah.
I just don't do that.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I'm with you.
He's
I'm
just
same.
like you. He really
I can't
is.
stand it. Like, I don't understand why people can't just get along. It's not that hard.
I mean, there's no reason why people couldn't get along. I mean, no logical reason. But I think that's the way the world was made. There was always going to be somebody cause trouble, and they are.
Yeah.
And they always will be.
People let selfishness and greed and jealousy take over, and
Most of the time it's jealousy and greed. Well, the Bible says the love of money, not money, but the love of money is the root of all evil. And if you notice, there's some people that would cut your throat for
sure.
$5.
Right.
They wouldn't have to have thousands.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't make them any happier. That's a weird thing.
it's a weird thing, that's right. And I don't want caught up in nothing like that. 'Cause I'd just rather be myself.
Yeah.
I've made it this long like that. That's the way I intend to do it. Right on. Because you just don't run somebody else's life.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody can run yours because it just fades away. It don't work out that way. So.
A lot out of that, though. I mean, a lot of people maybe just need to hear that one more time, you know?
Well, I mean, seriously, you just look around at people and see how people are so unhappy anymore and should be very happy to be alive. You know, this country's been blessed more than one time.
Yeah.
And he said if you turned from your wicked ways and turned back to God, he would bless it again. And people they never hear that. And you hear them ask, I mean old people, not young people, they've got no idea why people act like that or causes trouble. It's because they just want to be busybodies. And that's what the Bible calls them. Busybodies. They stir up trouble. And you know, one or two can destroy a community.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Some people love that.
As I don't visit, maybe people should visit. Anybody's welcome to come, and if anybody needs me, I go. But as far as just being a busybody from house to house, no, I don't do that. You get along like that. So nobody in my neighborhood can say I'm a busybody.
No. You're busy. You're not a busybody.
They may make fun of me mowing or burning paper, or Debbie come out here and I was burning a brush pile. That was right after she moved down here. But it had to be done, so I raked it away from the woods and piled it up over here in a blank place and wet around it, so I knew I could burn it. Debbie comes, she seen the smoke coming up. I said, Lord, don't let that be Delilah. That's something she'd do. she come running down the hill. Do you need help? Can you? I said, no. I said, I went out around it, and it's not going to catch nothing on fire. Got to burn it. And it was a brush pile. A big limb come out of the tree up there, and I just broke it up, cut it up.
Yeah.
I took a sawed it up, and burned it. That's what you had to do.
That's what
I
you do.
couldn't carry that from under there.
Somebody's got to do it.
Well, I couldn't carry it up the hill.
That makes any sense.
I burned it where it was at.
That makes a lot of sense.
But Debbie talks about that yet. She said, when I seen that smoke, I just knew. She won't do nothing like that, but I will. I told her, I said, I wish Joe Short was still here. We kept all this place burned off decent. He would call me and tell me, if you will get your water hose and, watch where the fires are coming, because it wouldn't have come on past here, but he didn't like to go the other way. He would set fire down there, and he'd come up around that way and set fire. Well, he had a water hose down there, and I had a water hose up here. And we could burn that off. We burned all this off over here
The
like
hillside,
that until grass could grow. But nobody else won't do that. And they don't help you do that. But
Nope.
or that hill would be cleaned off I would have it done. I couldn't do that by myself, but I would have it done and burn it. Because them trees, some of them is dead, but nobody's interested.
I'm interested. Let's burn something, Granny. Maybe not today. It's pretty windy.
Ronnie was telling me, Granny, you got no business doing stuff like that. And I said, did you ever hear of Babe the Blue Ox? And he said, no. I said, I have. And if I had Babe the Blue Ox, we could accomplish that whole hillside.
Babe the Blue Ox, what was that?
It was at a storybook in school.
Yeah.
Paul Bunyan?
Paul Bunyan's? Did he ride
Paul
Babe?
Bunyan.
Yeah.
And if I'd had Babe the Blue Ox, we could have cleaned that.
You could have got some work done. If only.
But he said he had never heard of it there.
Yeah.
And it was a busy place, but, we didn't have a car or nothing. And you just got a taxi cab. It seemed like 50 cents from where we lived to St. Paul.
That's interesting. Never would have guessed that.
Oh, yeah. That's the way we had to get around. But now they don't have nothing like that down there now.
It's not very busy.
Well, everybody's got a car.
That's true.
And
Less people had cars then.
I mean, Curtis had a car, but he worked. And he had the car with him. And at that time, Dorothy couldn't drive either, neither could I. So a car didn't do us any good if it was sitting there. So you just get a cab.
Right.
And when you had to go to the grocery store, you just got a cab. And I believe it was 50 cents that he charged Mr. Addington. I don't know what the others charged because we usually just got Mr. Addington. And it was like 50 cents down there and back. If you was just going straight down there and back, it was 50 cents. Well, you couldn't have drove down there for that.
Right.
But that's the way we had to get around, so that's the way we went.
Right.
So,
Could have walked, I guess. Not that far.
oh yeah, I've walked to St. Paul many times from that rock house, yeah.
A few miles.
Well, that's not far. I mean, back then there wasn't as much traffic on the road and you could get out of the road, and now you can't. It's screwed up beside the road. Like I said, I used to ride the motorcycle. Donnie took me to work on the motorcycle.
So funny. I just can't picture you riding motorcycles on the regular.
I didn't ride with nobody else because I was afraid, but Donnie wouldn't scare me, so. And he rode it to work because Becky was working at the time. They just had one car. And she'd have to take the car and he'd take the motorcycle.
Right.
So he would take me to work. And, which was fine until cold weather.
Yeah.
That wasn't
Still was raining.
But he still rode the motorcycle. And I know one day he got there and he had a ski mask on, just toboggan, with this out. And his mustache had ice all over. I mean, it was frozen. I don't know how he stood it, really.
It looked cool.
No, that's the only way you had to get into work, and he worked up Hamlin.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you had to get into work when she used the car. Well, then after Danny was born, he still left the car in case she needed it,
Right.
And he would ride the motorcycle. Then he bought some kind of little old model something that he could ride to work.
Yeah.
It was red. One was red.
A Vega.
I think it was. And time Danny was a year old, he could pick out the sound of that car. And I had him one day just before he was born, so he couldn't have been more about 2. And he was wanting to go home. And I told him, he knew it was time for Donnie to come. And I told him, I said, we have to wait till Daddy comes till he'll pick us up, but I want to go home. And I heard a car pace, and I said, that might be Daddy coming right now. He turned his ear towards the, that's not my daddy. That's not my daddy. It was.
Not the right sound. He's on to you.
So then when Donnie got there, he picked him up. But it was like he knew what time he was to come in. I know Becky called me one day. He was a baby then. And he'd cried all day, and she called and asked if I could come up there. She said, I can't do a thing with him. And she said, we was running late this morning, and Donnie didn't get his lunch, and she said I'm going to take his lunch to him. And he was working up at the head of Honeyburn somewhere up there on the ridge. And she said, but I can't get nothing done because Danny's cried all day and she couldn't do nothing with him. So I went up there, and he still fussed and cried as we was going. You know, as soon as Donnie stepped out of that truck and took him, there wasn't nothing wrong with him. He was fine.
Daddy's boy.
I mean,
Still is.
As soon as he took him, he just, like, okay, that's all I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Becky said she ought to spank him. But he was probably 6 or 8 months old or maybe older. But, I mean, Donnie just got out of the truck and she reached into him and
Problem solved.
he would just look at him. And then $1 went a long ways, but you worked hard for that $1. Hold corn 10 cents an hour. And when I went to work at the sewing factory, I think the month that I went to work, they had raised the pay because it had been $1 an hour. And I think it was $1.15 I started with. But geez, that was a fortune. Because I worked at the laundry $17.44 a week.
$17.44.
You got that flat rate because they cut your Social Security tax out of it. No other tax, just Social Security. And that's what left it 44 cents. But I mean, you worked all a week. I didn't work in the laundry, back in the laundry where they're doing the laundry. I worked where you folded laundry. And they had these big things they called a mangle that a bed sheet fit through, and they did laundry for the hospitals out there. And it took 2 to let them sheets through. You had to get on each side. And it was just like it was big rollers was what took it in, like a sewing machine, like a washing machine roller, only it was as long as that sheet was, you know. And I did that. Then Arlena Robinson, boy, she was good at that. As fast as you could grab a sheet and put it through there, it went. You couldn't let them wrinkle.
Right.
And if you dropped a corner of one from the hospital, of course they did laundry, you know, for private people too. But if you dropped a corner in the floor, you had to throw that back in the laundry because there's a germ on it.
Contaminated it.
And so you had to be very careful. And if you had the right rhythm, the two working together, it was no problem. If one fumbled or wasn't as fast as you was with it, that caused a real problem. But me and Arlene and Robinson, we could put them through just as fast as you could pick them up. And you had to keep your fingers on the side of them, keep them from wrinkling until it went all the way through. And then somebody had to catch them on the other side to fold them. They had a big piece of canvas out there they could come out on. They didn't go to the floor. You know, then when we'd get through running them through, then we'd have to have fold, and you folded the same way. As fast as you could pick them up, put them corners together, and you had to know how hard to pull it because you couldn't leave a wrinkle and not jerk it out of the other one's hand. And if you kept that same rhythm, it was no problem. It wasn't that hard to work. But now, private clothes was a little more, but I didn't run the press either. One time I think I run that. Like where you had to press the clothes when you washed them, but there was a man usually done that. And a man usually done the laundry part. But we had to go through all the clothes and search all pockets and everything before you put them in the washer. We had to do that and hang up hangers. Put all the hangers together and hang them up. And then we had to go back in where we call them press and fold. And the sheets, well, the pillowcases, like for the hospital, you put all them through that mangle. But you couldn't let them start in crooked if you did your wrinkle one. So only one could handle it, like the pillowcases, they don't cut it. And you had to pick it up and sling it real hard, get it to the corner, and start it in from the back end, so it would bring all down to the lower end. Now in the hospital.
What year was this?
That's before I started working at the factory, probably 60. I was working out there when President Kennedy was elected,
60-ish.
maybe 61 or something. Anyway, Miss Klein, that was there. They owned the laundromat, and they owned the laundry, the dry cleaning too. And she stayed in bed all day and cried because he's the one won. She said she never got out of bed. She cried all day, and I thought, well, how foolish you about to be to do that. Who cared who won?
Yeah. Gotta go to work today.
It didn't matter if it was a Democrat or Republican to me. I just thought whoever was the best man, let him win. So she didn't think he was the best man.
Apparently not.
But I mean, that was what we was taught. You pick the one you think could do the best job. It didn't matter which one they was titled to. Now it's got to be the title, but
Right.
you know. But that was so foolish. But she cried all day, she said. Her husband wasn't home, and she just stayed in bed and cried all day. Made different things. When I first started work, they was making slips. And I worked in the lace department, spread lace. You had to spread on nails, you had to draw a marker. You had patterns to draw a marker by. And like for a slip or a gown, you had to have that V-neck here, and some of it took lace elastic straps that when you had to measure them and spread them on nails. And that's what I worked in, was that. But then they made cotton dresses. They made some dresses and pajamas, which I would have called it out of paper. I don't know what they was out of, but we made them for Hills clothing. We made some for Roses. And then we made gowns and pajamas, no slips, nothing in. We made, they called them panties. They didn't call them underwear, different kind of panties. And then it went to all shirts, which made shirts. And that's what we're still making when the factory closed, with shirts. But now we made for J.C. Penney's and for Sears Roebuck and for Hills and for Roses. Who else? We made for somebody in New York, but I don't remember the name of that one.
Back when clothes were still made in the USA.
Yeah, and back when you made clothes, because they'd like them gowns and pajamas and things, the material, they'd last forever. You didn't wear one out. So true cotton was what they made them out of. They made men's and women's pajamas, long sleeve and short sleeve. The Moorfield factory, it was all on one floor, but we still had the big tables. We had did the spreading and cutting, and then moved them over to the sewing area. Then they had a press in the back. There's a lot of things you had to iron before it went anywhere, and folded back there. They called it press and fold. And you had cardboard to fold your shirts and things on to go. But then the plant closed and then opened back up. We worked until the last day of December of 1990, and they opened it back up before New Year's. After they told us, clothes had gone out of business.
Right.
But that dropped everybody's seniority. It dropped everybody's insurance. We had life insurance and all that. Dropped all of that. It dropped your pensions. Whatever was in there, you could draw out that. I still draw that little $81 check pension. And they only had it set like if you lived to be 80. But I'm still drawing mine. Little pension checks I figure I'm getting. Because I would have drawn more if I hadn't started drawing it early. But I thought, I may not live till I'm older. So
you're getting $80 a month
$81.
from your pension work at the factory. How much did you make a month at the factory then?
Well, you made different things. Part of the time we was on production, you made different things. But
No, how much money did you make?
at the end of the year, about $12,000 was about as much as I could.
At the end of the year, so you made $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
So you're
Close.
okay. Yeah.
If you worked overtime.
Yeah.
If not, you didn't make that much.
Interesting.
because I was only making 5 something when the plant closed. But I started off at $1.15, I think it was.
$1.15 an hour?
They'd raised it to $1.15. I believe I may have started at $1.05, and in 90 days you got the raise up to $1.15. But back then that went a long ways. I mean, I could even I had a savings. I always saved my Christmas savings. At first time I had 5 cut out of payday, and then I had 10 cut out at a payday. Well, you know, that amounts up by Christmas time. I didn't spend it all Christmas.
Yeah.
But they called it a Christmas savings.
Was that enough to buy a house? And
Well, no. When we bought the house, we just made payments on it.
but you could afford to buy a house off of your wages.
No, probably her and her husband's, right? It had to take 2 of
We
you.
bought, when we bought the house, yeah. But he was only making like 50 a week, and I was making 55 at that time when we bought the house. You know, we never went hungry. We never went without anything. So, you know,
$100 a week.
like I said, you didn't go crazy at Christmas time and buy all of this stuff they didn't need. You bought what they specified. You asked that question, and most of the time one toy. Then if they got clothes, that's okay. But,
They needed it anyway.
But they didn't get all that extra stuff because they didn't need it.
Yeah.
But I always laid it away in September and have it paid for by Christmas. So I remember one year we had snow knee deep. And I couldn't, the vehicles couldn't go out to go to work, but the truck could go out, but the car couldn't. But anyway, there it was Christmas Eve, and I had to get their Christmas stuff. That was the year that Donnie wanted I believe it was a bicycle. Anyway, it was one of these small ones. Yeah, it was the bicycle. And a pocket watch. Rhonda wanted that big stuffed monkey with a banana and a watch on a chain. Well, I had laid it all away. I got that. There it was Christmas Eve, snow to my knees. Nobody could get their cars out, and I walked and went to St. Paul and got it because that's where it was at, was St. Paul. And Hen Glover come along just when I started back home with it. And he stopped, he said, "Girl, what are you doing out here in weather like this?" And I said, "Well, it's Christmas and they still believe in Santa Claus." So I had to have their Christmas stuff. He said, "I don't blame you one bit, get in."
Took you home.
And I had on knee boots. I mean, snow would go in my boots.
Yeah. You're a tough lady.
Well, you had to get it. I mean, I thought I had to. I probably could have told them Christmas was a week later. They'd have believed it.
They wouldn't know the difference.
But I didn't tell them that that was the time that Donnie got up, about 4 o'clock in the morning. I had cut the lights on the tree so they could see when they got up, you know. And Donnie had come to the door, and I heard you say, "Wow, wow," because that watch was hanging on his bicycle, you know. He goes over, I could see him through the mirror, and he took a hold of the handlebars and moved it. He said, he went back in, he woke Rhonda up. I told her Santa Claus had come. I could hear him whisper. So Rhonda gets up and goes and looks. They come back, they didn't stay in bed 10 minutes. And Donnie said, "Hey, Mom, can we get up and see if Santa Claus is coming?" I said, "Yeah, if you want to." Boy, they both made a big line. But that was so funny. And Donnie had on a check robe. I don't know why he took time to put that robe on before he went in there. He had on pajamas. But it was the way that he wanted to go wake us up, but he couldn't help but to get excited when he seen that. He said, "Wow, wow." Oh, he might have been 6. I don't know if he, around 6, 7, somewhere there. Because we had just moved in the rock house.
Yeah.
And I think he was 6 when we moved up there. But it was just the way he did it. And so innocent, "Can we get up and see if Santa Claus is coming?" But I had plugged the lights back in on the tree so they could see. I knew he would be up early, you know.
I'd be excited about a bicycle and a pocket watch too.
But now he was excited. And he done that when he got his red wagon. He wanted a wagon. and he got a red wagon. They usually got just something they needed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could use the wagon. He hauled in wood and stuff like that with the wagon. And he hauled his dog in the wagon.
That's right. Didn't he have a shaggy dog or something?
He was a shepherd, I think. He may have been mixed with cattle, but he was a shepherd. And this man that worked up there told me, he seen him. He said, I've got to tell you, but you don't go home and jump on that boy, but I think it was yours. But he said, I have to tell you, it was so funny. And that's what he said. As I went along, he said he was pulling the dog in the wagon going up the road past Miss Blevins's. He wasn't supposed to go past Miss Blevins's. And when he come back, he said he was in the wagon and had hooked to the dog, and the dog was taking
Pulling him.
And he said, I thought that was so funny. He said, now would you go home and jump on him? But he said, I'm sure that was yours. Well, I come home and I said, Donnie, have you been out on the road with that wagon today? And he looked at me so quick. I said, did you go up the road on the wagon? Them nosy old women, they tell everything you do. I never did tell him who told me. It was Garland Horn told me. He was a janitor up there, and he come home for lunch, and he lived right above us. He lived with his sister. And he had no idea it was Garland. I never did tell him it was Garland.
Those nosy old women.
He just started crying. He knew he was caught. He said, them old nosy old women at that factory, they tell everything.
No secrets.
I don't know how he thought any of the women, he didn't. I don't know if he would have even recognized Garland when he passed or not, because he was about 8 or 10 then, probably 10. But he pulled the dog up there and then let the dog pull him back. And that's what he thought was so funny. He said when I went up, he was pulling the dog in the wagon. But he said what was so funny, when I come back, he had that wagon hooked onto the dog and he was riding the wagon.
That's fair.
It was so funny. I couldn't even fuss at him, but I told him it better not happen again out in the road with that wagon. Car come along, they wouldn't have seen him. Now, who would have seen a dog pulling the wagon around them curves up through there? And I'd have been afraid if that Jim...
I know Jim Williams.
It was crazy up there. And he'd shoot at you. Well, he finally shot his son, and his son finally killed him. But anyway, that's the way they lived.
Nice family.
And he didn't like them riding bicycles up through there and stuff like that.
Granny, thanks.
Oh, anytime.
For sharing your wisdom.
My gossip.
I like the gossip too. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. See you on the next one.